Hello, hello, hello. It is Stephanie here. Welcome aboard episode 82 of the Rent to Rent Success podcast. Today's episode is different. Often we talk about rent to rent as a great strategy for people who are new to property, and it really is. But it's also a great way for experienced investors to increase their cash flow as well. And today I am delighted to be joined by Toyin Ayandare. And Toyin is founder and CEO of the Icon Property Company. And she's a property developer with an 8-figure property portfolio built from scratch over the period of 9 years. Toyin loves to inspire, mentor, and empower people into creating financial freedom through property. And I know this talk that we have today is going to be educational and inspirational. So welcome to the podcast, Toyin Ayandare.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Absolutely love the introduction and so glad to have the conversation. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this lovely success podcast, of which I've listened to several times myself. So, yeah, very inspirational. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you. And I got to know you a little bit more. I knew of you before, but since we've had Clubhouse, I've been
Yeah.
amazed to hear of what you're doing in the property development world. And I was surprised as well to hear that you also do rent to rent. And somebody asked the question one time about rent to rent, and you gave an answer, and I was blown away. And I thought I would love to have you on the show.
Oh,
But
yeah.
before we get into all that good stuff, tell us a little bit about you, Toyin.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Toyin, married to my lovely husband and business partner as well. So yeah, we get to share both the life and business partner. But I'm also mom to lovely girls, 2 girls. I've got 2 girls. I actually got into property full time 9 years ago, and it's been a fantastic journey. I was one of those that sort of just sacked the bus and just went straight in. I didn't try it out first. I didn't know if it was going to work, and it's not something I'm saying everyone go do, but I definitely did that. So it is possible if you ever find yourself in that position. But then, yeah, I decided to go into property full time 9 years ago, and I've not looked back since. It's been fantastic. As I've definitely have ups and downs, but yeah, we keep getting up every time, don't we?
Toyin, that is so inspirational because 9 years is not that long of a time, is it?
No.
And in that time, you've gone from scratch to a multi-million pound portfolio.
Yes.
And it's just phenomenal. And what I would love to talk about is tell us about how you got started 9 years ago. What was your situation and how did you sort of, yeah, kick things off in the property world?
Okay, so what I actually sort of share is obviously rewind back because I only relocated to the UK 13 years ago thereabout, and I came in obviously full of aspirations, what I wanted to do. Came in, did my masters in business administration, and obviously was eager to sort of get on the property ladder. Um, not get on the property ladder. That was way not even up to my plans. Get into the career and stuff, building my career and building a life for myself. Obviously I was unmarried at the time, single, and as you know, having different aspirations. And I luckily did over time got a job after obviously doing a few menial jobs just to get myself started. But I always sort of say share the story because I share it just to sort of share, make others understand that it's possible for anyone. I relocated into the country with only £200, with plans obviously to do a lot of things, and obviously to be where I am now, where I've got the size of portfolio I have now. I think I'm a true testament to others to know that it is possible if you work your heart, your graft up. But in terms of me going in full time 9 years ago was when I had my little girls, well, not little anymore, my children, and I think we wanted a different life for them. We wanted to
Mm.
explore, and my older girl was at that time 6. She's fine now. She used to get sick a lot. She had some skin issues, which meant that even though I was working in the city, I always had to rush back once I got cold to take her to the hospital or something, and just just didn't sit well. And I just thought there must be more to life than this. And I thought, okay, no, that's it. We'll sort of step out and see how it goes. Obviously, at the time, because I wasn't sure of what I was doing, and like I said, I didn't try it out. I'd watched Homes Under the Emma several times, and I'd seen it happening. I thought, why not?
That was the training.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, but I told myself, you know what, I'll give myself 6 months, 1 year. If it doesn't work, I'll quickly go back to my job. But thankfully, 9 years on, I haven't gone back. So yeah,
I don't think you'll be going back
yeah.
anytime soon, unless it's buying the company. Uh, so that was how you started off. Tell us about the first property deal, because that was, you had the mindset, you knew you had to get out of it. Your daughter was, well, you wanted to spend more time with your daughter,
Yeah.
and your daughter had some issues that needed some support at the time, and you decided, you made the decision. Now, a lot of us have been there where we've made the decision, but it's really hard to turn that decision into practice.
Mm.
So can you remember how you did that, and how did you know what to do? What did you decide to do? I just want to know everything.
Absolutely. So I obviously, like I said, I'd watch them so that the Emma. So I was going to do the same thing: buy property in auction, renovate, and sell. It was pretty much, I wasn't going to reinvent the wheel; just going to do exactly the same thing, and that I did. However, the challenge I had was, unlike what I'd seen on Zona the Emma, every single auction I was getting to, I was getting outbid, and I thought, surely I'm doing the numbers right based on what I'd seen. Why am I getting outbid? So eventually, I think a few months on, or I don't know how many auctions after, I decided that I was going to go look at a property, and I said, come what may, I was going to buy that property, and I was prepared to even lose some money, because I just thought, you know what, the only way I can get to do this, I'm a good risk taker, was actually getting to do it. Because I mean, I'd obviously understood the part of looking for the properties, searching, and actually understood the whole auction buying process. But what I had no experience was actually doing the property up, getting to the other side of the sale. So I desperately wanted to do that. So I was prepared to actually buy a property and make a loss, just so I can actually get my hands dirty and do exactly what I needed to do. And so I did. I mean, I literally, once I made that decision, the very next property I was prepared to bid on, I bought it. I was like, I was going to go all the way. And thankfully, I didn't make a loss. I think I sold it. I made about 10,000 profit, I think, thereabout on the property. And that was good. It was obviously less than I would have gotten out of bed or for, or not what I would have expected leaving my job. But I think for me it was a good thing, because I was prepared, because I knew I'd outbid. But once I understood the whole concept, I then realized, okay, I could save this on refurbishment. I could save it. I could have done it better. And whilst I really was on that development, I bought another one, and yeah, literally started doing it. Thereafter, started learning different ropes, started understanding about leverage, because obviously at the time I wasn't even leveraging my finance, and so obviously start understanding different concepts that I needed to get once I had the first one started. And it was interesting, because at the time I was buying, selling, and it wasn't until one, I think about during the purchase of one, sale of one of them, I had someone come say, "Oh, what you're doing is interesting. Can you help me out here? I want to do something like that." And as it will have happened, it came with a property that was on the street I just sold on, and it was going to buy for 50,000 more than I had sold only a few months after, and his wasn't run down. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've missed the trick here, because a lot of times I've seen people keeping properties, and I didn't get why you would get out of bed for just £500 profit or £200 cash flow in terms of keeping properties. And I thought, I'm better off selling. So when that happened, I think that was a light bulb moment for me. Then I realized, actually, I'm going to be keeping my properties. If I can refinance and get my money out, then and keep it as a cash machine, as you would you would say, why not? Which is why I got into the buy, refurbish, refinance model. So all of this, I was literally all self thoughts, and just, well, not self talk, Homes Under the Emma thoughts, and I sort of, yeah, started doing it that way.
That's fantastic. So you were inspired by Homes Under the Hammer. There you were, buying and selling. And then you had a light bulb go off, thinking about also the capital appreciation. You
Yeah,
know, you'd seen that property go up over 50 grand. And you thought, I could be holding on to this as well as getting the paycheck, the cash machine
yeah.
every week. And I know you've moved from just buying and selling single homes. And tell us about the journey of what kind. Well, let's start where we are. What kind of developments are you doing now?
So, like I was saying earlier, most of the properties that I developments we do now, we do more of the blocks. We do more of commercial to residential conversions. New build, buy a plot of land or a commercial builder, knock it down, and then obviously build apartments. So and we started this again pretty much. This was also before I'd even found the property world, as it were. And it was just pretty much through an agent. We had built a relationship. We had bought a few properties through. When I say we, obviously my husband being included. And he then came up, I don't know, for some reason he found a commercial property, or it was meant to sell a commercial property. And commercial properties do not do well in the hands of residential agents. And it was like, Toyin, help me here. What do I do? Do you want to buy this? It's good. And he was trying to sell it to me. It's like, I've never done a commercial property before, conversion before. How do I go about this? And I'm thankful to him, because actually he encouraged me and stuff. And I went around, and I do have a very creative mind, and I did go into the property, and I thought, oh wow, we could do this, we could do that. I was like, oh yeah, why not? And yeah, picked up the property. Obviously it was a block. It was an office block. I could have converted to 6 apartments, and I knew that at the time. But I thought I'd go the easy way, and I just split it down the middle and converted to 5-bedroom semi-detached houses. Sold one, and then kept the other one, which we still have in the portfolio. So obviously that sort of helped um, um, change my mindset, and realizing actually it was almost a case of buy one get one free. And I was like, oh, okay, this sounds good. I mean, I love my small single properties, but this seems like a brilliant way to expand my portfolio. And tell you what, that's really what's helped massively expand our portfolio. Being able to buy properties, we've converted banks, we've converted shops and uppers, offices. I mean, lots of different properties, light industrial sites that I've converted to apartments, and it's been beautiful. Absolutely love it. You can tell from the way I'm selling it.
Yes, so I would love if you can remember back that far, if you're able to say, I'd love to know, the numbers. As a property person, you're always intrigued by the numbers. Say, what did you buy the commercial for? What was then the GDV when you turned it into
For that
two?
one, a recent one.
This one here, the commercial one, your first commercial that you
Oh, the
converted to
first
two
one.
houses.
Yeah, I bought it for 214,000. I think we've spent about 60,000 thereabout on it, if I remember clearly. Yeah, it's been a while now, and we sold the one of the houses for, I think, 250,000 thereabouts, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And then you've got cash flow on the other one and the equity. And how long ago was that, Toyin?
This was back in 2014, if I
Right.
remember correctly. 14,
Yeah.
15 years. Yeah, 14, 2014.
Yeah, 7 years ago, and that's possibly gone up in value as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, property is such a gift as an investment strategy because you can put all that money in. There's not many investments where you can get all of your money out. You can double, you get 100% return on investment.
yeah.
So that's brilliant. So let's talk now. Do you want to add anything else about your development journey and the sort of developments? That was your first development. Should we talk about a more recent development?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last one we sort of had completed. I think that was actually a shop, which already had planning permission. Actually, he had planning permission to knock it down and convert to, I think, and build one bedroom flats, which was just not going to be viable. And then we took it on. It was office, it was not office, sorry, it was a shop. I think it was like a furniture shop, and we took it on, converted it. The main building, so we didn't knock it down. We just did a commercial conversion on it and converted the main building to 4 apartments. And then we've got three lots of 2-bedroom apartments and 1 3-bedroom mansion apartment. And that alone was worth it on its own. But the good thing about this property, I mean, I bought the property for about 408,000, which is only just, I was going to say last year, but then it's the year before, because we almost omit last year.
Yes.
It was the tail end of last year, but because we had worked on going on most of lockdown, and then we spent about 100 and, I mean, can't remember now, 170, 80,000 to sort of do the refurbishment work and the property. We've kept all four apartments, and we got it revalued for 1,040,000. So I
Wow.
don't even know what the value I went over the 40,000. We actually said it was 1 million, and he came back and said no, it's 1,040,000. Don't know where he got that from.
Yes.
Good, but I
Love
think
it.
the beauty of this development was there was a land to the side of that site which we tried to split, and on that plot we've got planning permission to build two additional apartments on that site. So that pretty much is almost like a cherry on the top. Which when I was
Yes.
buying the deal, we didn't know we could possibly do something on it, but we we're quite sure. So I actually buy deals for what I can do, and it's confirmed as against what the possibilities that could or could not be, because obviously that would be down to planning permission. And so we've got that as well, and that's um again the value of that is 500,000. So it was fantastic deal for pretty much something that was going to be knocked down and wasn't going to be viable. So that's the recent one we've done. So you can tell why I like commercial conversions.
Brilliant, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love that. I love the cherry on the cake there. It's such an amazing deal to go in for, 580,000 and come out with well over 1 million. But not only that, you still own all the assets and you're cash flowing them and you're benefiting from the capital appreciation. So, and I know that's just one of many, many, many deals that you're doing, Toyin. But now what I want to talk about is, how does rent to rent come into all this? Because this was what blew me away when you were talking in a clubhouse room recently. So tell us about how that came about.
And a lot of people do wonder about that. So I'm glad I found rent to rent, because I would have said the same thing. So I mean, one of the benefits of property development is the fact that he availed us the opportunity to build our home. So we bought this property in a lovely, lovely area that normally wouldn't have been able to afford again if not for being in property. And we knocked it down and built a home. Um, and obviously, being a family of four, we have two children and myself. We had to stay in an hotel for 5 months. That was a very painful experience. The kids having to go to school from an hotel,
Mm,
switching my. I mean, initially it was exciting, but it was really painful. And I think
mm,
for me, that was when I realized that there was a lack and of service accommodation that would definitely be useful in that area. Now, where I live is not necessarily. I don't have a property portfolio in that area. I didn't have a property portfolio in that area at the time, in terms of my rental portfolio. So it was not a case of I could live in one of my properties. So I thought, um, because we had gone through that painful experience, I realized that there will be other people like me. And I said, actually, this is where service accommodation would come in, and this is where rent to rent strategy would come in. So at the time, it sounded like something really small. It's just like up there. And that's how I really pretty much started getting properties. And I think it's actually fantastic, because the properties that I take on as rent to rent for service accommodation are properties that I would normally not pick up. I would normally not invest, because it just doesn't stack up in terms of the
yeah.
rental income. But what happens is most of these landlords are actually buying them for capital appreciation. So what I do is take it off them for market rent actually, and then I'm able to make it roughly £1,000 extra on property portfolio. Now, for even my portfolio, and in terms of our single let properties, I don't get £1,000 cash flow on them. So to be able to take someone else's property and make that sort of money, I know I'm even making more money than the landlords. It was a fantastic, it was a deal. I mean, it made absolute sense. Now I knew that because I was busy doing other development, it was not going to be something I could easily do myself. And I think that's what also helped us get the team around us, get our staff and everything, and help us manage the service accommodation. But I think just from one client, which we had, I think a few years ago, we were able to get about £500,000 contract from them. And obviously, you can calculate what the net income from that is. And for me, I just realized, why not? If I'm going to make such money, and the sacrifice I would need to make is setting up a business that would be able to manage that, so I can keep managing my development. It's a case of it's no brainer. even when we started, obviously, I talk about these good figures we get from it. I didn't have that from day one. Obviously, you start from getting one rent to rent, you get comfortable with it, then you get another one and the rest of that. But even from when I started in the beginning, it absolutely makes sense to understand that you can, it's just simple. We talk about multiple income streams, but I also think about multiple property income streams because I'm sure if you're in development, you understand that as good as it is, you get cash tight a lot of times because you're putting all of your money into that development. And I needed a cash flow strategy that would keep pumping that money back in so that we can get on with our developments. We can get on. I'm not where I'm putting all of my money in. I can use obviously get the cash flow strategy going to sort of give us an income. So rent to rent was perfect for me to sort of do that, and it's still perfect.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is a phenomenal strategy, but I love what you said there. The properties are much more expensive. They don't make sense in the yield is low, the rent is not high enough compared with the purchase price. But yet you can rent these properties and make over £1,000 per month, and that's been a great addition on top of your developments, which obviously is cash intensive,
Yeah.
which is a cash intensive strategy. Yes. So I would love to know because often people ask me, we don't talk about service accommodation or we don't teach service accommodation, how you do it in a way, because you're a busy mum. You've also got a big property development company, you own a portfolio, you've got other business interests, and you have this successful service accommodation business as well. So, how are you running that in a way that it doesn't take up all your time or cause you to go grey?
I think for me, the good thing is, and on top of that, I also have rent to rent HMOs as well as our own property portfolio HMOs. Not something we're big in, so love what you're doing in that space. But it's something that why not? I saw that you could actually make money. Why not? And I think you understanding where exactly you're looking to get from property helps you understand why any strategy that works could be for you. Because for me, it's the income and the income I get from it that will allow me to do the things that I really want, which is impacting the world. I mean, in certain ways. So I get the income from there to sort of help me do that. Um, I think it was good the fact that I was into development before rent to rent. For me, it doesn't matter; it could happen the other way. So I already understood the the aspects of being busy. I knew that my property portfolio, either way I do, I run my property portfolio. I had to be able to have the systems in place. It was not going to work right from day one. I knew I wasn't going to be able to just do one rent to rent and enjoy the income and sit there. I knew I needed to go large enough to pay for the staff as well as give me an income. So right from day one, it was always the plan that there needed to be a number of properties. So I would go in, I would take on blocks from landlords because I knew I needed to expand the portfolio. So I was working more of leverage, the average income as against what I'll get from in property. Yes, I needed to pay for staff. Yes, we needed to pay for office at the time. Thankfully, our commercial properties have availed us opportunity to have our own office. So I knew all of those costs would need to be calculated and paid for by the rent to rent business because that was additional overhead I had. So for me, I already put those systems in place from day one, such that it wasn't going to take any of my time. And so with the service accommodation business, I had to get involved. We've got staff that actually do it for us. And I had that blockage as well. I was thinking, oh, if I get staff, or how do I necessarily allow someone else rely on me to sort of get their living? But no, it's been great because it's allowed me get myself together, get myself organized so that I can be organized for the team as well. But it's been absolutely good. And yeah, systems, especially with service accommodation, you cannot, you absolutely have to get it right. Otherwise, it would tear you out because it's a business. It's a great property strategy, but I actually tell people it's an hospitality business. You're dealing with people coming in and out, so you need to get your systems in place. Absolutely nailed to the T so that you can perform best at your best.
That's brilliant advice. And I know, well, you operate at such a high level. I mean, I just feel we have not even touched the surface of all of the things that you do and the amount of projects you have running simultaneously, and all of it's quite phenomenal. And so I would love to know how you have built up this mindset. Have you had any mentors or masterminds that have really changed the game for you?
So, like I mentioned, when I started off, it was literally a goal, a desire that that was so hungry that got me going to start with. And I mentioned earlier, um, I believe so strongly in being educated and being knowing exactly what you do. But unfortunately, at the time when I started, it looked like there was no one else in property. I was the only one. If that's it, literally did feel like that. And the first time I went to a networking event, which I saw by what reading, I think the evening paper at the time. I was like, and I saw a lot of people. I was like, oh my goodness, I did many of us in this because I honestly truly believed I was one of a million. But it was again, it's just the mindset. What you don't know, you don't know. And so I had that to start with. But as I've gone along, to be able to scale up to the level we have, and then I'm still a work in progress. I have to say that I've got involved with people that I've gone on masterminds. Gone on mentoring in and out of the country, just to be around those that are doing this daily, just obviously having that good positive mindset, sort of being
Mm.
around them, hearing people doing it. Sometimes I'm in a room and the most experienced, but even learning from those that are even less experience, learning how they're implementing things. And it almost brings a good reminder as to why you how you're doing what you're doing. Because a lot of times the things we do, we hear, we've heard them before. We've just not implemented them. So just you seeing someone else. So I always say a good mastermind group, a good mentoring. I've had mentors. I still continue to have them because again, it's just about that accountability, having someone because it's enough for you to sit down and calculate and say, this is what my goal should be for the next 6 months. But many a times we get out there, we get knocked down, we forget what the plan was. And it's just having someone to remind you, to hold your hands, to sort of help you. I found that really good for us because, like I mentioned, we were doing well, and everyone would have seen our portfolio and said, "Wow, you've grown in such a scale, such a short time." But then it wasn't until when we sort of got involved in the mentoring and mastermind did I sort of scale up massively because it was like, oh wow, a new world was open to us, and I realized some things I thought was too big for me, I could actually do it, and
Mm.
that really helped me massively. So yes, I absolutely subscribe to being part of masterminds and having a mentor. It's unbelievable.
And has raising funds, raising private finance been part of your journey as well, Toyin?
Don't take me there.
Oh, sorry
Um,
about that.
it is it's a sore subject for me for now, purely because I did go through just about 2 or 3 years ago now. Went through such difficult time purely because for the first time we decided to do joint ventures, and I know and I've seen it work several times for people. It just did not work for us, and it
Mm,
almost crumbled me financially because
mm,
I mean, I did all the right things, did all the due diligence and everything. It just didn't work for us, and
mm.
why I said it's a sore subject because I'm actually at a space where I'm thinking, oh, I'm not sure it's something I want to do in terms of joint venture. I do believe that borrowing money, I mean, saying that we do get pension funds and we borrow them, but then
Mm.
it's all done legally, and then it's also it's more of a business finance as against actually joint venturing going
Yes.
into a project with someone. So I think it's very important to understand if your goals and your mindset and your whatever drives you aligns with whoever your joint venture partner with. I think I am more for the business loan because it's almost pretty much as you would borrow money from, excuse me, a bank,
Yeah.
and we do that in that regard. But in terms of joint venture and actually going into a deal with someone is still a bit slow for me. So I've seen it work several times. So I know
Mm,
it was just the case that I just got unlucky
mm.
in that regard. Thankfully, we've healed from it and we've gone away from it, but it did have a massive impact. And it was one of those times that what you'd also think definitely good. You had a mentor, had a mastermind, because I could go back and just say, guys, this is what's happened. And with the help of others, I was able to restructure my business such that I could get back on my feet again.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Thanks for those tips. And I know that you also mentor, and that you help people who want to get started in property development, who want to make the big moves that you're making. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think it's just something that's coming from demand, really. People seeing what I'm doing. I never set out to be a mentor. I just thought I was just going to line my pockets with the income I was getting from property. But as time goes on, people have seen what I've done and said, "Oh, let's do it." And I initially started doing it just for fun, and then obviously as it grew, I realized it was taking a lot of my time. So we have what we call Icon Academy now, and then it literally starts. We do site meetings, date property tours. So we have people come to our developments to have a look, because sometimes some people seeing is believing. They see what is, and then they can actually imagine that they can do that themselves. And then we also have the mentorship. We have mentoring, one-to-one mentoring, and we also do like small mentoring groups or mastermind groups, as you call it, where people can rub off each other and help themselves grow. So yeah, pretty much do all of that. Again, it's not a massive part of what we do. It does pay, but then it's more about giving that people that opportunity that I had. Not many people had the opportunity, or as driven as I was to go ahead. A lot of people need more support to sort of start up, and I think that's what we've been able to do. So I love it when I see my students get up and then achieve lots of things, and it's like, wow, yeah, I didn't know I could do that. So that's good.
What I love about you, Toyin, and I felt the same when we got started, is you said you were hungry for it. You were hungry. So you were not giving up. All of the different obstacles that came along, you were going through it. You were going around it. You were going under it, over it, any which way to get past it. There was no chance that you were giving up.
No chance.
And yeah, I love that energy about you, and that's why you've been so incredibly successful. It's been phenomenal talking to you, and I learn so much from you every time we're in a room together.
Oh,
So
thank you.
as we're bringing it to a close, I'd love to know what opportunities you are excited about for 2021. Where is Icon Property Group thinking of taking things this year?
My little girl, who is 8 years old, said this when she was about 2 or 3, which is amazing because at the time I did not even start the seven. Yeah, I think we just about started the service accommodation business or so. And she said, "Oh, when I grow up, I'm just going to do property like you. I'm going to actually buy hotels and I'm going to own hotels." And I was like, "Where's she coming from?" Maybe that's because she likes holidays or something. But it is one of the opportunities where I'm actually looking at now. Purely because with the demise of what COVID has presented, I think looking at guest houses and small bread and breakfast hotels that have not been able to make it through this period. I think there's definitely an opportunity there. So it's something we're in the early stages of. We've got our resources actually looking out for properties for us now. So that's something we're excited in. Purely because again it's going to be like an hybrid of what we do in terms of service accommodation and development. So we're looking at being able to sort of combine both in such development. Class E commercial conversions is kicked in. Applications cannot be made until August 2021. So it's still a lot is still out there to see how much appetite councils would have and how much resistance they would have. But definitely looking at a few opportunities within that space. Um,
Just for
residential.
listeners, what's Class E?
So
Just for
okay.
clarity.
Oh yes. I always forget this. So class E. So prior, this is a commercial use. So prior to April, I think it was sometime towards the end of 2020. We used to have different classes of use. So it's like A1, A2, A3, and the rest of that. So different commercial use class property classification for properties. Now, what the government has done is combine most of those classes. So it's class A1, A2, A3, B1, and C. I mean, so quite a few C1. They've all been combined, and D as well, which is like a doctor's surgeries. They've all been combined to a class use called Class E. And then as part of that as well, one of the reasons why commercial conversions has been very good is the fact that there's been something called permitted development, which means that the planning laws has been relaxed for commercial properties to be converted to residential use. And this has been as far back as 2013 for certain class use. But however, because Class E is coming, that is going to be the permitted development rights has been applied to Class E. So, which means a lot of properties within that space that hadn't been allowed to be converted from residential under the relaxed planning rules have now been included. So, which means, and I'm sure you understand that with COVID, a lot of business have unfortunately collapsed and would not be opening again, and all those buildings have the opportunity being put back to use as residential properties. And a commercial property versus a residential property is usually more expensive per square foot. So being able to convert that commercial property to a residential property and get the uplift in there is going to be a fantastic opportunity in 2021.
So much gold in that reply. I'm so glad I asked you that question. And the other thing that's great about B&Bs and small hotels is that owners often, it's been a low cash business because of the struggles. But even before that, a high cash and low profit. And often the paperwork, it means it's hard for buyers to finance it through lenders who are typically very conservative. And therefore, there's more opportunity for creative financing when you're buying that type of asset.
Which is why
And
I'm talking about the lease option. So it is an
yeah,
opportunity that would, yeah, see how that goes. But I think definitely an opportunity for creative finance in there.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us, Toyin, sharing your insights and your experiences. It's been great to have you here. As we end it today, what words of wisdom or inspiration would you like to leave people with today?
I think I would say the one thing that I feel like every successful property investor or developer has, or even rent to rent, whatever it is that you're doing in property, is perseverance. You've got to have that perseverance to keep going, even when you, because the truth is the challenges would come. Don't pray or hope for a situation there wouldn't be any. There will be, but it's what you do when it happens. I mean, are you so resolved to sort of kick you, dust yourself and get up again? Because I say to everyone that if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So surely you understand you are of a different kind to be able to sort of go into this. And the truth is, people like me and Stephanie and others, a lot of people out there have done it and made a success of it. So there's no reason why you shouldn't. So get yourself out there and get going and make that money.
Brilliant. Thank you, Toyin. If you would like to get in touch with Toyin, if you're thinking of getting started in property development, do contact Toyin. And you can see if you're watching this, you can see on the screen, it's at icon T4 family for Toyin's Instagram, and she'll be able to let you know about her development program. If you have any questions after this episode, then go to renttoRentSuccess.com/ask, and we'd love to answer them for you on a future episode. So thank you, Toyin, for being here. Thank you for watching and for listening. And until next week, have a great rest of the week. And remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.
Thank you.